Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Min's Minute Modcast with his mates. And today I only have one mate, but it's my favourite mate. Hello, Satya.
Hi, Min.
It's been another crazy week in the world of AI and tech, right? What shall we start with? I understand you've been looking at what Adobe's been up to.
Yes, let's start in that alphabetical order and look at what Adobe have done. I have always followed Adobe from a fan point of view, like because they have been changing their business models for some time, like before 2008, before the previous recession. They had a downloadable Adobe tools. Then they moved on to subscription model. Then now with the AI and having to compete on the enterprise level, for me it's quite fascinating to observe where this would all go, because the leadership remains the same who's taking the
Mm,
decision. And I've read that case study at depth, and this is why for me the news really mattered
mhm,
about the Adobe getting into the AI tools for enterprises,
mm,
especially what one of their colleagues did say, that if the thousands of images can be cropped automatically, can be
yes.
enhanced automatically, and only then can you also see the value of automation that's going behind the scene. I
Mm,
think that's a very promising take for me, because
yeah.
we all know how many images we all come across,
Mm.
and there's a tool that does it automatically, and there's an agent that is doing it at the back end. I'm really curious to see what's next about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Particularly with the large enterprises, a little bit like most of them use Microsoft and Office sort of products, right? So they already have like a massive market in the creative world. My daughter is graphic designer. They
Yeah.
use the Adobe Suite, and they've already invested in that. They know the products, so when they come along and have something that does generative fill or cropping images, etc., chances are they're going to stay with that rather than paying for something else, because they're always going to use the main products that they already have, right? So I think
Yeah.
in the end of this, there'll be some really big players that will just capture it and catch up with some of the smaller boutique businesses.
Have you used Canva, by the way, Min? Like,
Yeah, I had a play the other day, and I really like some of their AI templates that they've created. So again, to create something really professional in a really short amount of time, they're making it really easy, and so yeah, really cool to use. What about you?
I did quite a lot for the upcoming the priceless conversations. So
Uh
we have,
huh.
and I really like the font and the style of the New Yorker magazine.
Of
But then
course.
I do not have access to Adobe tools because it's
Oh,
expensive.
okay. Yeah.
But then we could buy the entire year suite for Canva, and
Mm,
then try and use our own creativity, applied AI. I'm very happy to see the results. Like with us not being so creative, like we are,
yeah.
none of my team members are designers, but then Canva still able to give me that result is
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Cool. That's for another episode. I think we need to kind of do a bit of a show and tell on that. The other big news events over the last few days has been Nvidia, and obviously they've announced the next generation of chips and localized computers and things that you can run all the AIs on. But did you see their little robot thing, Groot, that they've introduced that came up on the stage?
Yes, is it called Blue or something? It is
I
called
don't know if
Blue,
it's
is it?
Blue or Groot. It's
One
cute,
of them.
whatever it is. And
Cute,
I
yeah.
really liked how rather than making it like a human, it was a bit sort of like Star Wars, and it was just like making like whirring mechanical noises.
Yes, I think that differentiates what is coming from AI as well, what is the machine thing in that. I was reading the news, but I don't remember much of it. I was just like yesterday or day before yesterday, I was reading the news, because then I was diverted to the non-reasoning prompt engineering that was coming up in the news flash on the tech crunch, right? That got my attention. But the Nvidia part is, yeah, I think people are really in this high competitive zone. And when I see Nvidia releasing so many things, I think that they've already thought through it maybe years before. That we are only seeing a theater show,
That's
but
right.
they must have already thought about it before we are seeing it, or even the world is even
Yeah,
comprehending about it.
yeah. The other tool I've been playing with this week has been the latest version of Google's model, Gemini's model, the Flash 2.
Mhm.
And what you were talking about Adobe and changing images and cropping them and enhancing them. It's absolutely amazing what this new model can do. And again, totally free to use, where you can
Mhm.
upload an image and you're like, actually, wouldn't it be amazing if you had it as a side shot as opposed to full on? And you literally type in the prompt and it would do that, which up until now it's been difficult to do unless you've sort of paid for premium packages and things, and they've made it totally free to do. So I saw a lot of people on YouTube raving about what they're doing. And again, it makes you kind of think of the creative industry. I mean, great, they could probably do like be 100 times more productive. And when they're showing their clients rather than a blank piece of paper, they can show generally their direction before they have their expertise and their eye for their expertise and detail. But certainly, I think it should just make it much more open to everyone else like me that has no creative skills at all in taking something and chatting to a bot and helping that create something I have in my mind. So yeah, it's just fascinating how it's all moving.
Yes, I was also like this morning thinking about how do I visualize what my storytelling is. Like, for example, how can I represent a simultaneous action for two different things? How can I represent a triangle or what? And I just wish there was a AI tool that you're talking about, like very similar, that could change the images in different angles, and I can merge my own thought process to it and create a small movie about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a big Ghibli movies fan, so it's a
Okay.
Japanese movie, or anime, or one of these classifications. But I really like their movies, and I was watching their uh, the grave of the Fireflies. The
Okay.
it's a very serious movie based on World War II, and this is where I was like, okay, can there be a different side to say the story?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
uh, I was thinking, can I use this to say my storytelling, like the Ghibli visualizations or the pictures that they
Yeah.
use or the drawings that they use?